Welcome to this video on dividing fractions. Hopefully you remember how to multiply fractions because basically that's what you're going to be doing when you're dividing fractions, with one little difference here, which is highlighted in purple here, our golden rule of dividing fractions. Dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Now there's kind of a fancy word there, reciprocal. Reciprocal is just basically when you take a fraction and you flip it over. The numerator becomes the denominator becomes the numerator. Let's look at a quick example of what a reciprocal would be. If we have the fraction 3/4, the reciprocal would be 4/3. Pretty easy, you just flip it over. If we had the fraction 1/2, the reciprocal would be 2/1, or 2. If we had the number 6 and we wanted to find the reciprocal, we'd have to write it as a fraction, like 6/1, and then flip it, 1/6. If we had a mixed number, like 3 1/3, in order to flip this or find the reciprocal of this, we'd first have to turn it to an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so we'd have 10/3. Then we could flip it or find the reciprocal, which would be 3/10. Alright, so we're going to be using this idea of the reciprocal of a fraction here when we're dividing. Let's look at an example. Let's get rid of this. Okay, let's do 3/4 divided by 1/8. Alright, so dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Dividing by a fraction. So the fraction we're dividing by is 1/8. So dividing by 1/8 is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal, or the reciprocal of 1/8. It's only the 1/8 we're going to do the reciprocal of, not the 3/4. The 3/4 is going to stay the same. 3/4. Then it says we're going to change this to a multiply, and we're going to do the reciprocal of 1/8, which is 8/1. That's it. That's the key right there. Change the divide to a times, and take the reciprocal of the fraction that you're dividing by, which is the one right after the divide sign. Now we just have a multiplication problem, which we already know how to do. So let's see, is there anything I can cancel? Remember, you can only cancel when you're multiplying. If I could not cancel if there's a divide, even there's nothing here to cancel, but even if I could, even if there was something that could cancel, I can't do it because there's this divide sign here. I can only do it when there's a multiplication. Okay, so 4, 8, looks like I can cancel there. Let's do that. So 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice. Now we multiply straight across. 3 times 2 is 6, 1 times 1 is 1, 6 divided by 1 is 6. So 3/4 divided by 1/8 is 6. Now that's a little strange to think about. Like what's happening here? 3/4 divided by 1/8. Why does that come out to be 6? Well, let's see if I can give you a little bit of help with this, a little picture. Let's see, of what's happening. So we have 3/4. Here's 3/4. So say I've got 3/4 of a pizza, all right? And I'm going to divide it by an 1/8. So in other words, I'm asking myself how many 1/8 will go into 3/4. That's what division means. If I had a simpler problem like 8 divided by 2, I'm just making this up totally just because it's a division problem that you understand. What this means is how many 2's will go into 8, and the answer is 4. 4 2's will go into 8. Okay, let's just kind of remember that's what division means. So up here, when I'm saying 3/4 divided by an 1/8, I'm asking how many 8's will go into 3/4. So let's go over here and let's think of this as, you know, it was a whole pizza here at one time, but the part we have left is 3/4. And I want to split it into 8ths. How big would an 1/8 be? Well, if this is a quarter of the pizza right here, then if I wanted to split it into an 1/8, I'd have to cut this in half right here. So this piece, that would be an eighth. And then this piece right here, that would be another eighth. So there's there's two pieces there that are an eighth. There's 3, 4. I think you can see what's going to happen here. 5 and 6. So each of these red pieces here, those are an eighth of the pizza. And how many eighths will fit into 3/4? 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's what's happening. It's always good to get a picture in your mind of what's going on. What does this problem mean? And is 6 a reasonable answer? And in this case, it is. We can see that by the picture. All right, let's try another one with maybe some whole numbers or mixed numbers. Let's get rid of this. Let's try 3 and 2/3 divided by 1 and 1/2. Let's just guess at this, okay? How many 1 1/2s will go into 3 and 2/3? Well, 1 1 1/2 would be 1 1/2. 2 1 1/2s would be 3. 3 1 1/2s would be 4 1/2. That's too much. So it's going to be 2 and a little bit. I'm expecting it to be 2 and something. You know, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what it would be with these other fractions in here, but I can guess it should be 2 and something. All right, so to work this out and get the exact answer, what we need to do is change these improper fractions to, or excuse me, these mixed numbers to improper fractions. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So we have 11 over 3. Now I'm still going to write the divide sign because I haven't flipped anything yet. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, but I'm not doing the reciprocal just yet. I'm changing this to an improper fraction. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So that's 3 over 2. All right, now caution, red flag here. Some of you might want to cancel these 3's. Can't do that when there's a divide. I can only do that when there's a multiply. On the next step, I'm going to change this divide to a multiply, and I'm also going to change the second fraction to its reciprocal, the 3/2. So my next step, I'm going to write 11 over 3 times, and now I flip the fraction, 2/3. Now there's nothing I can cancel, so I'm going to multiply straight across, and I get 22 over 9. 22 divided by 9. This is an improper fraction, so I should change it to a mixed number. 22, let's see, 9 goes into 22 twice. That'd be 18. So there'd be 4 left over. And then I keep my denominator the same. So that kind of that was close to what we said. We thought it would be a little more than 2. And 2 4/9 was the answer. Alright, let's try another one. Maybe you want to stop the video and after I write this down, pause it and see if you can come up with the right answer. Let's try, how about 8 divided by 2 1/4. How many 2 1/4s will go into 8? Alright, if you want to try this, pause the video and give it a shot. Alright, we need to change both these to just plain old fractions, numerator, denominator. So 8 is 8 over 1. The 8's a whole number, so we just put that over 1. I'm going to keep the divide because I'm not flipping yet. I'm writing things as fractions. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So I have 9/4. Okay, now I need to change it to a multiplication and do the reciprocal of 9/4, which is 4/9. So now I write 8 over 1 times 4 over 9. And at this point, if I was in class, I'd get some people asking me, do I have to write all this stuff? And my answer would be yes. Yes, you have to write all this stuff. You're communicating how you're thinking. You're communicating what your steps are. You're telling a little story about how you're solving this problem, which your instructor needs to see. Also, it'll help you remember what you did. Now, if you didn't have all these steps written down and you came back tomorrow and we're trying to remember how to do this, you would want to see all these steps to help you remember how to do it. And if you go on in math, you're going to have to learn to show your steps. Problems are going to get bigger and bigger and more complicated, and the better you are at writing stuff down, the easier those are going to be. So get in those good habits right now. Alright, let's finish this thing. Let's see. 8 times 4 is 32. My little speech is over. Divided by 1 times 9 is 9. We have another improper fraction. So we're going to divide. 9 goes into 32. 32 divided by 9. Let's see. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. That's too much. So 9 times 3 is 27. 32 take away 27 is 5. So it'll be 5 left over. So 3 and 5/9. Alright, I hope this video on dividing fractions was helpful.